This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it is Wednesday, November 12th, and the government shutdown, the longest government shutdown in American history, will officially, we believe, we hope, will end today. That means air traffic controllers will get back to work. They will if they want that $10,000 bonus that Trump is promising, and starving children will eat again, thank God. And there's one thing to keep in mind as you see this story unfold today, as you see airport chaos begin to unwind. Democrats aren't happy. They don't want this. They wanted to extend this. They wanted to continue the pain because, as they said, it's the only leverage they had. I've yet to see a single Democrat who just says it's just good to stop the shutdown. It's wrong to shut down the government. We can negotiate, but we need to get the government opened up again. Even the 8 who voted with the Republicans to end the shutdown, they're not happy. They're part of a kind of a scheme orchestrated by Chuck Schumer. You guys aren't up for re-election. You're either retiring or you're safe in office. So could you just go up there and vote to end the shutdown? We could get past this and we can move on. And Chuck Schumer can go on TV and say, I voted no, I'm against this, even though he orchestrated this. It's kind of obvious what happened here. And it's obvious to the Democrats that Chuck Schumer did this, that he caved, to use their word, and he's done. He's a dead man walking. Chuck Schumer is almost 75 years old. He's been in Washington for more than 40 years, and he's kind of become, he's going to be the fall guy here. He's going to have to walk the plank because every vocal, prominent Democrat is calling for his head. Just this morning, I made a list of Democrats who are demanding Chuck step down. Ro Khanna, who's generally a guy who's sensible, who's not insane like the rest of them, like Rashida Tlaib, Shri Thanadar, that nut with all the hair from Michigan, Seth Moulton, Sonny Hostin is calling for Chuck's head. That's important. She's kind of one of the vocal leaders of the Democrat Party. And when you hear them say Chuck must go, none of them, literally none of them, says who should replace him because they got nobody. That's the big story here. Chuck probably will be forced out. If he isn't forced out now, he'll be defeated, humiliated in a primary in 2 years by AOC or anybody. Chuck is historically unpopular because of this shutdown that he caused, and then he caved. So they hate him right now, and I'm enjoying the hell out of this. But Ro Khanna was asked, who will replace him? And he came up with a list. He said, we got a few people who are capable of doing this. And he listed Liz Warren, Chris Murphy, Chris Van Hollen, and Amy Klobuchar. Does anybody think any of the above could be the minority leader in the Senate or the majority leader if they recapture the Senate? Liz Warren? Sure, Ro, we'll go with that. Chris Murphy, an absolute lunatic, crazed leftist. Van Hollen, the guy who had margaritas with the Maryland dad, that guy could be your leader. Here's the problem they have. Obviously, their base is fired up. Obviously, people are excited that a communist is going to run New York City, and radicals everywhere are dominating the party and literally shouting down their leaders. And Jasmine Crockett is everywhere right now, and AOC is just feeling it. She can feel the power that she now has in this party, but they don't know how to govern. They don't have anybody sensible, anybody capable of leading their party. They want Chuck out. Chuck's out. Chuck is, he is a dead man walking. Now what? That's the question. And they got nothing. Give me that poll, which made me laugh out loud. Here's a poll of Democrats asked, who is the leader of your party? Who is leading the party right now in 2025? Number one on the list. Let's do the top three. We'll do the top three. Number one, don't know. Don't know gets, what does don't know get? 21%. Kamala Harris, 16%, and nobody, 10%. Chuck Schumer gets 7.7%, the minority leader in the Senate, and Hakeem Jeffries, who is another endangered species here. Jeffries is going to be challenged in his next race next year by a guy from New York City who's I don't know what he is. He like wears a dress. He's a socialist. He's a communist. He's a Hindu, and he's I don't know. He's a lunatic. But it's New York City, so Hakeem might be in trouble. Barack Obama gets 7%. I don't think he's I don't think he even wants to lead the party. Can you keep scrolling until we get down to Jasmine Crockett and AOC? Because they are really the leaders of the party. Gavin Newsom, 6%. Joe Biden, 4.4. Ken Martin, he's that squish who runs the DNC now. Bernie Sanders, 1.9. Hillary Clinton, there's AOC, 1.1% AOC. 0.8% for Jazzy Jasmine Crockett. Donald Trump is right. He's tied with her. Trump is tied with Jasmine Crockett. When the question is put to Democrats, who is the leader of your party? Tim Walz at 0.4%. This is an absolutely rudderless, leaderless movement. They are vocal, they are animated, they are loud, but they are leaderless. That is the problem. And they have to pick someone if they force Chuck out or Hakeem out. They have to pick someone. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to be pressured just like they were in the shutdown. They're going to be pressured from the loony left. That's who controls the party. That's who's in charge now. AOC, Jasmine freaking Crockett, this absolute madwoman from Texas, is the leader of this party, which is lamenting the end of the shutdown today. They're really not happy. The shutdown is over, and they, from all of them, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and Jennifer Welch, all of them aren't happy that starving kids can eat, that air traffic controllers can get paid, that the military can get paid. It's really kind of revealing that they didn't give a damn when the military went without pay, or TSA, or air traffic controllers. It only got serious when SNAP recipients took to TikTok to cry and moan about the end of their handouts. And it became a problem because those are the most loyal base. Those are their people. And at the same time, Republicans and people, normal people watched these videos, heard from these people and said, wait a second, this program is out of control. And it did shine a light on many of these programs, including SNAP and food stamps. We went from 17 million people on food stamps 20 years ago to 42 million people, able-bodied people who are abusing the system and buying their junk food and buying DoorDash and Uber Eats. And it woke a lot of people up. They said, wait a second, this isn't right. I'm going to work. I'm paying taxes. Look at this massive obese person filling up her cart with my money, with junk food. We are literally paying for morbid obesity. We're paying for people to get diabetes. And things like this, moments like this, they matter. You get to see the abuse, and you get to hope that we'll fix it, we'll correct it, which brings us to Donald Trump last night. I think there's one thing that every Trump voter, certainly every MAGA person, lots of people in the middle, lots of centrists and moderates and independents, they appreciated Trump's America First agenda. That was number one on the list. They don't want, get involved in foreign wars. They don't want an open border. They don't want their tax money going to luxury hotels for illegal immigrants from Haiti. It was kind of the thing that brought us all together. And Trump is kind of navigating, kind of walking a fine line here. He's getting a lot of heat today on social media. A lot of people are really upset about this, about one line. This interview with Laura Trump has not gone well for Donald Trump, as we talked about yesterday. He gave Laura a tour of the White House, and there were some fine moments. But yesterday, Trump said we need 600,000 Chinese students to prop up failing colleges. And I would say it was a consensus among conservatives, among Trump supporters, that's insane, that we need Chinese students, 600. We need to triple the number of Chinese students, because if we don't, colleges might go out of business. Well, that to me and a lot of other people, that was two for the price of one. Let's stop bringing in Chinese students who are obligated to spy on us, obligated to report back to the CCP what they see and hear in this country. And two, let's put colleges out of business. Colleges are failing this country, many of them. He wanted to make the plea to the race obsessed people and say it'll be HBCUs. So what? I don't care if it's HBCUs or Columbia or Harvard. That would be a good thing if many of these schools, these indoctrination factories, went out of business. Andy announced $2,000 stimmy checks, which I think is another terrible idea. But last night, part two, Laura Ingraham played part two of this interview. And there's this one moment which I saw this, watched this, and said, oh boy, this is not going to go over well with his base. These people weren't happy yesterday. I wasn't happy yesterday when we heard he really wanted 600,000 Chinese students to come in because they're paying full price. Oh, gee, why did you say that? They're paying full price, replacing American kids, learning valuable lessons, learning how to, learning tech thing, STEM, engineering, chemistry, and then going back to China with all that knowledge and joining the fight against us. It was a bad moment. I think this might be worse. This is Trump talking to Laura about the HB1 visas, which have been used to import foreign workers and replace American workers. And he wants to not just continue it, I'd say he wants to ramp it up. Before we play it, Trump's in a tough spot. Again, I said this yesterday. Everything's transactional with him. He brings in Chinese students because he wants to make a deal with China. It's just, he doesn't look at it as a threat to the homeland. He looks at it as, I got to make a deal. He has brought in trillions in investment. He says it every day. I think the number he uses now is 18 trillion from various countries and various tech titans, CEOs. We're going to build, we're going to hire, we're going to put America first. But he had to make these deals. And part of these deals, I assume, was, yes, we'll continue the HB1 visa program. We'll continue to import foreign workers from India because that's what the CEOs asked for. So he made the deal. And then to him, the benefit outweighed the cost. He gets to say, we're bringing in 18 trillion, but we're also bringing in some tech workers or whatever, any kind of worker from India and Vietnam, Cambodia, all those deals he made with those countries, included this provision that you will continue to bring in foreign workers. That might be true. Maybe that's part of the deal. Maybe in the end it is good for this country, but I knew this would piss off a lot of people, and it has. Here he is saying, we don't have enough talent in this country to fill those jobs. Play it.
There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean
Republicans have to talk about it?
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration, because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people
you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
How about taking people out of when they graduate from college and they've learned, now we've got a master's, and you hire them? Are we supposed to believe the 500 illegal aliens who were working in that factory were just supremely talented, that no American could do that job? I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And I can't believe, I know, again, he made these deals. That's part of the deal. He has to sell it. And he says they wanted to get the illegal aliens out of the factory. They? I thought it was you. That's why we voted for you. This was a bad night, a bad 2 nights for Trump. We don't have enough talent? What? We have 340 million people. We have Americans looking for good jobs at good wages. They're not all haven't all been out of work for 5 years. They're not all unskilled. There are people who graduated with degrees who want those jobs. He knows that, but he also knows he made that deal. He can't come out and say it, but here's what he should say. Here's what he could say. If he were being honest, he'd say, yes, we're going to bring in foreign workers because I had to make that promise for them before they would invest in this country. That's the deal. That's what I have to do. He didn't have to say we don't have enough talent. Somebody made this point on X this morning, and I had to go look it up. They said Americans have a higher IQ than people from India. And I said, well, that's weird because, generally you think the people from India, they're here to work. They're really smart. They do well, Indian American immigrants. And it's true. And I'm looking at this list, but there's something else that jumped out at me. Get this list because it's amazing. I don't know why. I've never really, pored over this list of average IQ per country. Why don't we think of this? Why don't we consider this? Why doesn't our whole immigration system at least include this when we're vetting potential legal immigrants? Number 1 on the list, Singapore. China's number 2, average IQ of 105. Then South Korea, North Korea, which surprised me, Japan, the Netherlands. You don't see, that much immigration from some of these places. You go down the list: Finland, Belgium, New Zealand, UK, Sweden, Germany. Wouldn't want to, I'll bring in immigrants from these places. Czech Republic, Australia, Austria, Denmark. Keep going. Here we go. Hungary, Ireland, France, at number 26, the United States. Average IQ, 97.78. Here we'll keep going. Iceland, Latvia, Spain, Ukraine, Norway, Italy, Russia. It's 38. I'm going to keep going till we get to India. Where the hell is India? Where we go? Here we go. Okay, I can't find it. Where's India on this list, Ironhead? I know Malaysia, Mongolia, Portugal. It's I'm just gonna keep scrolling, but they're not anywhere near the top. Put it that way. March, Brazil, Libya, Laos. I just lost. But let me get down toward the bottom.
India's between Croatia and Turkey.
At what number is that at?
I don't see the number.
It keeps going and going. Anyway, I guess I should have bookmarked it, but they're nowhere near the top. But when you keep looking, you say, what the hell are we doing with our immigration system? Because I'm going to keep scrolling here for a long time. We have 185 countries here. India's 130. 130. Average IQ of 77. It's a big country, and there are a lot of smart people, but there are a lot of not so smart people. But this is not relevant to the HB1 discussion, debate, but it is an indictment of our overall immigration system, because I am still scrolling, looking for the countries that we import a lot of people. We allowed a lot of people into America, especially the last 4 years. Here's Somalia. Somalia, 67. Now that is technically intellectually disabled. Here's the definition of intellectually disabled: mild ID, IQ 50 to 69, moderate ID 35 to 49, severe ID 20 to 34. That's you, Ironhead, right there, I think.
I'm pretty smart.
But we are allowing immigrants by the hundreds of thousands from a place like Somalia with an average IQ of 67. Can someone explain to me what they bring to our country? Why you bring in thousands, hundreds of thousands of immigrants from a place where the average person is intellectually disabled? What sense does that make? I know of Somalia, Haiti, 67.7. That's below Somalia. The average IQ in Haiti is intellectually disabled, and yet we brought in hundreds of thousands and dumped them in Springfield, Ohio, and Maine, and we bring in hundreds of thousands from Somalia, dump them in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Sudan is last on the list, 188, the dumbest country on the planet, and we bring in more people from Sudan than we do from the Netherlands. The whole system is so out of whack. We have to wake up. Here's what Trump has to understand: that we don't want to talk about technicalities. People aren't going to sit there and say, oh, what's the number of HB1 visas? What's their job? How's it work? How long do they stay? This is a program pushed hard by CEOs and tech titans who want to import cheaper labor. We voted to end that. We voted to end this out of control, incoherent, insane immigration policy. Above all else, that's what people want. Obviously, they want a closed border. Obviously, they want deportations. But if we're going to survive as a country, don't we have to wake up and ask a simple question? What sense does it make to import people from Somalia who are intellectually disabled? Now, obviously, Ilhan Omar was Ayanna Pressley, AOC. Every Democrat would defend that. They would say, yeah, they're looking for a better life. And, they're looking for refuge. They're asylum seekers. Oh, great. Whatever you want. Tell me how it helps us. Can anybody do that? You bring people in from the Sudan who have the lowest IQ on the planet, and you think it's going to benefit us, our country, our people? It makes no sense at all. Get me the Kristi Noem clip if you can, because I think there's a divide here. They're going to tell you, oh, illegal. They're going to say legal immigration is wonderful. We bring in people as long as we vet them properly. Two things. We don't trust you or any federal agency to vet them properly. We don't. There would be huge, high majorities of Americans who would be thrilled if they came out today, if Kristi Noem or Trump or Marco Rubio came out and said, moratorium. We're going to stop immigration for a period of time, 6 months, a year. We're going to stop. Just stop. No more immigration, legal, illegal. We're going to stop bringing people in till we get people out. And it sounds drastic, draconian. But you tell me that the majority of Americans would not be thrilled to hear that. They know illegal immigration is a problem. We know it's a Democrat strategy. We know they did their best to change the demographics, and we're dealing with that every day. But they also know the whole system is rigged. When you're bringing in people who contribute nothing, or bringing in people to replace American workers at the behest of big companies, Republicans, populists, don't like that either. And they don't like to hear this from Kristi Noem saying, we need more illegal immigrants. Well, maybe, but let's take a break. Let's just take a break. As Trump said one time when he was on the campaign trail, he was calling for an end to all immigration from, certain countries. Well, that would be a good thing to do right now. Say no more immigration from Somalia, no more immigration from Haiti. No one's going to come here and live off us. You come here, you say this country was built by immigrants and everyone's an immigrant. Yeah, but they used to come here. When they came to Ellis Island, they came here to work. They had a sponsor. They had a job. They didn't come here and move into a nice hotel and get $64 a day in food and Ubers. That's not how it worked. That's how it worked under Joe Biden. It has to end completely and unconditionally. It has to end. Here's Kristi Noem. Yes.
Is administration's position on these visas?
Now, we're going to keep using our visa programs. We're just going to make sure that they have integrity, that we're actually doing the vetting of the individuals who come into this country, that they want to be here for the right reasons, that they're not supporters of terrorists and organizations that hate America. And that's what I think is so remarkable is under the Trump administration, we've sped up our process and added integrity to the visa programs, to green cards, to all of that. But also more people are becoming naturalized under this administration than ever before. More people are becoming citizens because we're not just streamlining and building some processes back into our immigration policies. We're also making sure that these individuals that are coming into our country and get that privilege, that they actually are here for the right reasons. The Biden administration let thousands of terrorists into this country. They opened the southern border. They abused our asylum programs, abused our protective programs and visa programs, and we fixed all of it. It's remarkable what President Trump has done, and it's because he's a great leader. He's a visionary, and this man is going to go down as a legend in history as our greatest president ever.
Is that do they have a written contract where they say they have to slobber over Trump in every answer? I mean, I understand. They like him. I like him. I'm thrilled that he's my president. But does every answer have to include, he's a legend, he's amazing? I mean, we got you. She just said we're naturalizing more people than ever. And she thinks that's a good thing. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust her to naturalize all the right people. I don't trust the system. We've seen what it has done to our country. Somebody posted this morning, in 1970, Minnesota was 99% white European. Now Minnesota has a representative who's from Somalia, whose top priority is Somalia, who has said it, who hates this country, who would love to just import the entire nation of Somalia into our country and destroy the fabric of this country. Now, we'll get to this because this is what's coming. I told you that in New York, lots of these giddy liberals and these dumb, woke, 28-year-old women who voted for Zoran Mamdani. Here's what's coming. What's happening in Minnesota, where you have the call to prayer at 5 a.m., 3:30 a.m. in the summer. You're going to have these incremental changes. And if we don't wake up, we're going to blink our eyes, and here's what's going to look like. You're going to have, in New York City, you will have no-go zones. You will have people told they can't walk down that street because they look Jewish. You're going to have people say, we don't want Christmas lights in the city. We don't want, we want to pray in the street. You're just going to have to wait till we're done. We're putting our rugs down. We're praying in Times Square. We have 300 mosques, but we want to do it in the street. You're going to have people ripping down American flags and waving Palestinian flags or Somalian flags. And you're going to have parents told they can't give their kid a ham sandwich for lunch. This is how it started. Oh, it's already started. Hell, in Minnesota, there was a school that replaced their mascot with a camel. They changed the state flag to include Somalia, some insignia of Somalia. This is what's happening. Get that parent from Calgary, because obviously Canada's 2 steps ahead of us in allowing the Muslim takeover of their country. Parents told, no ham, no bacon in your kid's lunch. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's just another step toward domination, which we've seen in Minnesota and other communities in this country. Play it.
Imagine receiving an email from your kid's school teacher asking you not to pack pork in their lunches anymore because it has become offensive to some of the children who are in the class. Some parents are writing emails to the teachers saying that there are Canadian kids showing up with bacon and ham in their sandwiches, and that's offensive to their religion. Just imagine that for a second. It's a school, not a refugee camp. There's an airplane.
You can't send your kid to school with a ham sandwich in this community in Canada. That's coming. That's coming. That's what New Yorkers voted for. All right, we got so much to get to. The Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson dust up has gone to a new level. We'll get to that. And Abby Phillips from CNN, the woman who is riding Scott Jennings' coattails, surviving in prime time because of Scott Jennings, says she has a tough job. She has to deprogram conservatives, and she has to debunk all their conspiracy theories. And you're not going to believe who she was sitting down with when she said that. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
If there's something all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. You know, kind of like President Trump, just going hard 24/7. The difference is Donald Trump doesn't need sleep. You do. I do. It's the most important thing to good health. I was in a horrible cycle that had no end in sight. I knew I had to find something to break me free of that cycle. That's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values: hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-based ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, you can get the best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry for up to 40% off. By the way, this is going to be interesting. In Dearborn, Michigan on Tuesday, there's a march. A candidate for governor, Republican guy, who's running for governor, is organizing a march down the street, main streets of Dearborn, waving American flags. Can't wait for the media to tell us how offensive that is to wave the American flag. But it's going to be good. Hopefully there's a big turnout, and hopefully it'll be mostly peaceful. But you never know. That's offensive, waving the American flag and supporting America in Dearborn, which is a mostly Muslim community. All right, we got to get to this Megyn Kelly thing, because I can't believe what Megyn is doing. I know we've talked about this for days, but it's heating up. Megyn Kelly, as we played yesterday, sat down with Ben Shapiro on her show. Ben Shapiro called Candace Owens evil and said what she claimed about TPUSA is evil, because she's accusing TPUSA of killing their leader, Charlie Kirk. Yes, she did it. We'll play it. That's what she did. She has gone so far off the rails. I haven't listened to the whole show lately, but all the clips are out there. She's nuts. and it's working. She has a huge audience. She's making a lot of money, and she is just doubling down on this notion that the murder of Kirk was, quote, an inside job. People involved with TPUSA were involved in his murder. I'm not sure how you deny that, but Megyn did her best. She played dumb with Ben Shapiro. She said, I didn't know that. I haven't watched her or listened to her, which was weird because it's hard to miss Candace Owens. She's out there. She's again, doubling down on her crazy conspiracy theories. But now Megyn Kelly and lots of people who support her are accusing Ben Shapiro of lying about this. Lying. We played this a week ago. I'm not sure how you can construe this as lying. She literally said it's an inside job. Erica Kirk is the CEO of Turning Point USA. And she's the leader. So it was an inside job. I think clearly if you say that, you're implicating her and all of his closest friends and coworkers, which is utter madness. I mean, she will never accept the fact that Tyler Robinson, because he had a furry tranny boyfriend and he'd been brainwashed, decided to take his grandfather's rifle and shoot Charlie Kirk while Kirk was answering a question about trans violence. That's what happened. But it took Candace Owens like a day to decide TPUSA people were involved. If that sounds crazy, it's because it is. It's madness. And I'm not sure why Megyn Kelly can't just dismiss this lunatic, Candace Owens, but she can't. For some reason, we have to afford her some respect here and say, she has her theories. But do we have both Candace Owens, what she said, and Megyn Kelly accusing Ben Shapiro of lying about it? This was bizarre.
Candace Owens.
I understand why Megyn Kelly defends Tucker. She's friends, good friends, close friends. He helped her out. She loves him. But why is she defending this person? There's no defense for her. Listen.
You guys, when we go back and we look at the calendar and we see that request went out in mid-July, it drives me insane. It just screams at me that this was an inside job, okay? It reeks of an inside job. That is how I feel. And the more that we learn about the story, the little changes that happen, the inexplicable things that we're learning, it becomes clearer and clearer that somehow at some layer, at some stage, Turning Point USA is involved because they're giving us no clarity. I want you to imagine you get a phone call, okay, from whoever, saying that the person that you love most in this world and the person that you are married to has been shot. How fast are you getting off that phone? You're staying on the phone. You're asking questions. There's a series of questions that need to be answered. You scream. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Where is he? Where do I go? Blah, 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 blah. Is he okay? There are a litany of questions that would be asked. And please don't tell me that this is some situation where that wouldn't be the circumstance. I am so tired of you wouldn't know what you would do. I do know that you're asking a series of questions. I need clarification because every day that goes on, it feels to me like Turning Point is engaged in a cover-up. And there's no other way to say this. There's no other ways. I don't care who at Turning Point tweets. I literally do not care. I will breathe fire on all of you. I know how these events work. Why was this event confirmed so quickly when it was requested so late? Answer these questions. I need answers to these questions to understand what happened on that day. Be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you because I know this is right. And there's no way you are going to convince me and the rest of the world that all of this is normal. We're not just going to keep on going and jump into a succession plan. We're going to figure out what the hell happened on September 10th first. And I'm going to tell you guys, Charlie had a vision. Charlie Kirk did in fact know that Turning Point was going to be the death of him. And I approve of that.
She just said, she said she questioned Erica Kirk because she got off the phone too quickly. I believe she got on a plane, if I have it right, and went right to Utah. Went right to see her husband after he was murdered. And she's casting suspicions on her, on this shocked, grieving widow because she didn't stay on the phone long enough. What? Is that really evidence? This is hard to believe because, again, Ben Shapiro's right. That's evil. That is some evil stuff right there, saying Turning Point was involved. We've seen these Turning Point guys. They're out. They're everywhere. They're doing their their vents. They were devastated. We've seen Tyler Robinson. We've seen his furry boyfriend. I mean, it'll all be laid out in court. And then what's she going to say? Oh, no, Erica Kirk didn't stay on the phone long enough, so she's involved. This is weird. I don't really understand what's behind it, what's the motivation. But Megyn Kelly accused Ben Shapiro of lying because he said Candace Owens, what she's doing is evil. What else do you call it? What else would you call a podcaster, a former friend, coworker of Charlie Kirk? What else would you call it when you accuse the group he was his best friends of being part of the murder? That sure sounds evil to me. But Megyn Kelly said Ben Shapiro was lying. Go ahead.
He said that Candace has been claiming Erica Kirk was behind the murder of Charlie, which I had not heard. And I was taken aback because that seems like something I would have heard. It's so crazy. And I have since learned it is not true. Candace has not made that claim. And in fact, I've now seen several clips of Candace specifically defending Erica Kirk and saying she would never make a claim like that about Erica, and that she is open-minded to other people at Turning Point. That's obvious. She's been making that point. I had heard that point, but she's specifically been defending Erica Kirk, and she's been saying she does not think that of Erica. And in fact, if you read her comments, she's under pressure to make comments about Erica. And so far, what I've seen, she hasn't. So thank you for that question.
Right. She just said she has included other people at Turning Point. What do you think of that, Megyn? His best friends, his coworkers, producers, assistants. She accused them of being involved and covering it up. And she just matter-of-factly says, yeah, she did include other people. And we just played you the clip. Erica Kirk is the leader of Turning Point. If Turning Point's involved, Erica Kirk's involved. That's what Candace Owens is doing. And it is evil. Ben Shapiro was right. And I really don't understand it because I love Megyn Kelly. She does a great job. But that is just weird, saying, no, that's not true. We just heard from Candace. She implicated the Turning Point, the organization run by Erica Kirk. And she cast suspicion on her for not staying on the phone after she was notified her husband was just assassinated or shot, and she rushed to his side. For that, she's somehow a suspect. That is just weird. But it's not going to end because I assume Ben Shapiro is going to fire back, and then we got ourselves a good old-fashioned feud between podcast giants, and it's good. I'm looking forward to it. People say, we don't want them to fight. I do. I enjoy a good fight, and sounds like we're in the middle of one. But all right, let's get to Abby again. Abby Phillips. She's a joke. Abby Phillips. She's a host nighttime on CNN. She brings in 5 people, usually like 4 liberals, and then Scott Jennings. They fight. Jennings wins. Jennings great. He's the only reason to watch this awful show. If he weren't there, she wouldn't have a job at this point. Her ratings aren't good. They would be in the toilet without Scott Jennings. She sits down with someone for a conversation, and she says the hardest part of her job is dealing with conservatives who are ill-informed and tend to buy into conspiracy theories. I assume she's talking about Scott Jennings. She'll have, Mr. Wonderful be on, other conservative types. But I think she's talking about Scott Jennings, who is brilliant and wins these 401 debates on a nightly basis. But let's play it, and then we'll tell you more about her, the person she's talking to on this podcast. Go ahead.
Conservatives are living in a completely different information world than liberals. And breaking that down needs to be done. Because when you don't ever even hear the facts, it's hard to even know that you're wrong. And that happens a lot. I mean, half my job sometimes is knowing what the latest conspiracy is, so that if it comes up, I'm ready to address it. Because it happens a lot where people don't even know that what they're saying or what they've seen and believe is not true. And so that happens a lot. And I don't come away from that saying, what's the point of this? People are just saying false things. I think that one time that person brings up something that is debunked and false, and I debunk it at the table, might be the very first time that someone out there has heard an alternative point of view.
Oh, thank you, Abby. We're just ill-informed. We don't know the facts. She's sitting with Joy Reid. She's sitting with Joy Reid, who has bought into every conspiracy theory, beginning with Russiagate, fine people hoax, drinking bleach hoax, you name it, who didn't believe Trump was actually shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. Because he stood up too quickly, she said. They allowed him to stand up for a photo op. For that reason, Joy Reid said she wasn't sure Trump was actually shot in the ear. And she questioned the bandage. Why can't we see the wound? She is the ultimate left-wing conspiracy theorist lunatic, which is why she doesn't have a job anymore. And Abby Phillips doesn't see the irony of saying that while sitting with Joy Reid. I'm starting to think Abby's not that bright. I mean, you don't know who you're with. You don't know what you're saying. You don't know Here's this is a sampling of Abby Phillips. That person who's so well informed that her job is to debunk all those crazy conspiracy theories she hears from the right. Here she is.
This seems to be kind of also another litmus test for how to be in MAGA world. I mean, is this the new reality for this MAGA era of politicians, that they don't back down when they're confronted with facts? It's clear as day. The FBI put out statistics. Crime is going down. You don't have to twist the facts.
The FBI quietly comes out with this new data that shows actually violent crime is up 4.5% during that time frame.
The only person making an accusation that people are not getting what they've asked for is Trump, falsely claiming that the administration is withholding resources because of political affiliation. That is just not true.
Well, the Federal Emergency Management Agency is facing major backlash after confirming reports that a supervisor ordered disaster relief workers to avoid homes with Trump yard signs.
There's actually not any evidence linking any of Hunter Biden's wrongdoings to Joe Biden.
You are incorrect.
You think that Biden would actually pardon Hunter Biden, despite him saying
Yes, as a father, he would.
No.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Breaking news. President Biden has just pardoned his son.
I mean, nobody. She's on an hour a night. Nobody is wrong. Nobody's more ill-informed than Abby Phillip. But keep it up, Abby. Your job is tough. You have to educate us. We're just dummies out here, MAGA dummies. We don't understand. We thought Joe Biden was lying when he said he wouldn't pardon Hunter, but you set us straight. You said, no. He said he wouldn't do that. You dope. She should be given half her check to Scott Jennings every week. Just an embarrassment. All right, do we have time for this Dallas Cowboys co-owner talking about, I want to do this because get ready. This is going to be a big deal in the next 3 months because Bad Bunny is still the halftime show. He's still got the biggest gig in the world. He gets to do the halftime show at the Super Bowl. And I think most people, smart, conservatives out there, Abby, are not happy with this. The idea that you would give this stage to a guy who doesn't sing in English, who sucks, but that's beside the point. He hates the country. He said he will not perform in the U.S. He said that before they picked him. I will not perform in the U.S. because of whatever, deportations. And then they offer him this gig in Santa Clara, California, which is, last I checked, in the U.S., and he couldn't turn it down. So he's a real man of principle. But this is the co-owner of the Cowboys. This is Jerry Jones' daughter. I can never keep him straight. His family's all involved. co-owner Charlotte Jones is thrilled that Bad Bunny has the biggest gig in music, the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Listen to Charlotte Jones explain why she's so excited to see Bad Bunny, to hear Bad Bunny sing in Spanish for 100 million people. Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on Bad Bunny performing at this year's Super Bowl?
I think it's awesome. And I think our Latina fan base is amazing. And I think when you think about the Super Bowl, you want the number one performer in the world to be there. We're on a global stage, and we can't ever forget that. Our game goes out to everybody around the world. And to get the premier entertainer to want to be a part of our game, I think is amazing. And I think that, we have a mixed culture. I mean, our whole society is based on immigrants that have come here and founded our country. And I think we can celebrate that. And I think the show's going to be amazing.
You don't think at a time when his comments were divisive as it relates to President Trump, when everyone is just seeking this political unification, that you'd want somebody who maybe didn't touch politics to be on that stage?
Yeah, I don't think our game's about politics. I don't think people tune in to look at politics. We do everything we can to avoid politics. And I think in that moment that people will be watching the game, they'll be celebrating music, and nobody will be thinking about what's comments on the left side, what comments on the right side, that this is about bringing people together.
Oh, sure it is. Yeah, you don't get involved in politics. That's why you bent the knee after George Floyd. That's why you put those wonderful messages in the end zone. That's why you don't pick white guys to do the halftime show anymore. The days of, The Who and the Rolling Stones and Tom Petty, those days are over. Now, we're a global game. We don't get involved with politics. By the way, she talks about immigrants. Immigrants came here and built the country. He's not an immigrant. He's from Puerto Rico. He's an American who hates America. And that's the guy. They could have chosen from anyone, from thousands of performers. They picked the guy who said he would not come to this country, would not step foot in this country until they gave him the gig. This was a bad, bad move, and it's going to get worse. People are going to look at this and say, what? It's just such a naked, pandering move. Like, oh, look, we picked the guy who dresses like a woman and sings in Spanish and told everyone if they want to enjoy the halftime show, they have to learn Spanish. We're sick of that, all right? That stuff is done. And NFL is missing the point here. We're moving on from that, and they should have gone with whoever, Ironheads guys at Metallica or Jason Aldean or you name it, Kenny Chesney, and given 2 middle fingers to these pandering puke liberal white ladies. Screw you. But it's not over. It's not over. We got a couple more months. We'll see what happens. But that will do it for today. Man, I had so much more to get to. What a wild day. What a wild time. We will leave it there for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Do you think that Chuck Schumer should step aside now and let someone else lead Democrats in the Senate?
I think it would be better. I think it'd be better than the status quo. And I hear this from Democrats all across Massachusetts. Everywhere I go, people say there's a leadership vacuum right now in the Democratic Party. We need new leadership. We've got to stop protecting this establishment status quo that's gotten us a second term of Donald Trump.